You worried about your elf ears. Sorry,
ears.
everyone. Last week
I
had a complaint that Stephen had elf ears. The complainant
was my son, who said, "Oh, look, you look like you've got elf ears." And it's because I had my earphones not quite positioned properly, and it dragged the top of my ears out, and it looked like I had elf ears.
Speaking of elf ears, when I was at Mum's on the weekend, because they don't really have great internet and they don't really watch streaming.
Okay.
Imparja TV, which is the Indigenous satellite network, basically.
Okay,
It runs pretty much Channel 9.
Yep.
Was running the Santa Claus movie with Tim Allen. Watched
There you go. The Santa Claus.
95% of that movie. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Elves with
And
elf
it's
ears.
called the Santa Claus, as in a clause in a contract, isn't it? Is it called Santa
I don't
Claus?
know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
As far as I know.
I didn't mind it.
Did you know what other character he plays, Tim Allen?
Tim the Tool Man?
No. You a Toy Story fan?
Yeah. Woody.
No.
Buzz.
Buzz Lightyear.
Buzz and
Tom
Woody.
Hanks is
Tom
Woody.
Hanks.
Tom
yeah,
Hanks is
I'm
Woody.
well aware of that. Come on.
Toy Story, you're going to run that one on the movie podcast.
Yeah, when are we doing
Toy
that?
Story, yeah, next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
Wow, that feels like a really...
Next year's 3 weeks away. Hello.
My God.
Yeah.
Like I was having that conversation with the kids in the car because Jackson finishes school tomorrow. It's his last day for the year.
Right.
And
So
Victoria's...
but he's doing his HSC this
Next year,
Next year, right. So
School,
1 year, in a year he'll be finished school probably.
Weird. And Victoria was like, I've still got another week to go. And she goes, I just can't believe the school year is coming to an end. It feels... She had this realisation of time, And I'm like, yeah, it's...
December always surprises people, don't they? So December just kind of creeps up on us. We're all surprised that it's Christmas.
I don't know. I would have been watching a podcast or something, but someone said there's a like a mathematical fascination or something with regards to how we feel about the impression of time.
Yeah.
So the older we get, the longer the
a
years
year
feel
is a
because it's a smaller
percentage
percentage of your life or
I think
something.
maybe we've discussed that theory.
Maybe you discussed it.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, that was Vivi's problem today.
Because when you were young, when you're 5, a year seemed like ages because it was a fifth of your life, right? But then when
I said to Vivi today, you've got 5 years left of school.
When you're 48, like you, then it's a 48th of your life.
I'm not 48. In fact,
how old are you?
I'm 46.
And when are you 48? 7 in a few weeks.
Yeah.
You're 47 in 2 weeks?
I'm 46 right now.
47.
I don't know why you're stretching the truth. I'm 46.
Okay. But before the end of the year, you're going to turn 47.
That may be true.
Because you were born in 1976.
Yep.
Yeah. You're a year after my brother Michael.
Okay. I didn't. Oh, okay.
Mikey's 75.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know how old I am too.
But when I said to Victoria, you've got 5 years of school left, I thought to myself, Jesus, 5 years? But she's like, oh, yeah, wow, it's not that long. I'm like, okay. That's that was an interesting thing because school, like you've had 6 years of school essentially, or 7. And so the 5 seems like less.
So she's over the hump. She's over halfway.
You've
and your kids go to public schools or
public, yeah.
Okay.
So they're not doing very well like Stephen.
Not school fees.
Mate, there's still school fees. It's a G up. You've got to pay like hundreds of dollars.
Hundreds of dollars. Wow.
The piece of paper always says, you owe this and this and this and this and this, and at the end it gives you a total. And then at the bottom it says, if you have any issues, you can contact the office about hardship payments. And I always say to Amanda, ring them up. I just want to see what they're going to say. And she'll go, yeah, I'll just ring up and say, Trev along from the Today Show
he's not doing very well.
Would like to please defer all fees.
Help me out a bit.
Because I think the issue is if you can't afford it, they just waive stuff.
Of course,
but,
of course.
We obviously pay the bills quickly.
Of course
it's all
you do.
good. I'm not actually. I just think it's. I'd be curious to know what the conversation is.
Yeah, my kids went to Catholic private schools, and it was as I did, and my brothers did, and it's a more than a few $100s. It's thousands of dollars. And when you got 3 of them going to school, you do get a sibling discount, though.
Really?
That's one good thing. My daughters went to the same school,
yeah.
So they got the sibling discount. And Aaron went to my old high school,
which at the time was a boys' school.
Which was the time was all boys' school. Now it's a co-ed school.
Yeah, as is the way of the world.
Yeah.
Even the snooty schools are going that way. I've read.
Well, no girls around when I was there, mate, and when my son was there.
No wonder you're so toey.
Whoa. There was a co-ed school up the street, though.
Mate, I remember when Jackson was born.
Joe went to the co-ed school up the road.
Yeah, you had your eye on him from across the street in a little school uniform.
No, I didn't.
And I've said this before, when Jacko was born, we put $300 down at Barker
Oh.
the private school up the road.
La-di-da.
And very quickly realised that's
Barker
never going to
College.
work.
Wow.
There's no way I could afford Barker for one.
You had the grand ambitions.
Yeah, let alone, hang on a minute.
Grand visions.
Listen, Harry, love you, mate, but you're not going to Barker. Imagine that. Imagine your brother's there and you get sent to the public school. You'd be like, wait a minute, what is this?
Hello, what's going on? Yeah. Preferential treatment.
Yeah.
Much. Yeah.
As is life.
That's how it works, mate. But you know what? When they all finish school, it's like getting a pay rise.
Yeah, but not for me because I'm public school, mate.
Yeah,
so.
it's like getting a pay rise.
But it will be like getting a pay rise because I'll start paying board.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
What?
Yeah, that's set the rules, mate. My kids did the same.
My theory. Tell me about this. My theory, because I'm not rich, but I certainly don't need my kids to pay board.
Yep.
But my theory is we will charge them rent or board.
Yep.
And all that money just goes into an account that hopefully we can help them.
Then give them back to them.
At the right time.
That's what I did with my kids.
But it's about having them understand that you've got to have
you've got to pay away.
Yeah.
Pay away. Yeah. And my mum and dad used to give all the grandkids $100 every birthday.
Yeah.
Put in an account. So they'd give them a present, but put 100 away in an account. And then by the time they're 18, they get the money. So they got a couple of grand to spend.
Yeah.
And they round it up to 2,000. That's not a bad present when you turn 18.
We need to make a note. Private feed.
Yeah.
I want your thoughts on P-plate driving rules.
Okay.
What are the rules that you give your kids when they get their Ps? Because Jackson's booked for his test. If he passes first go, he'll be driving soon. So,
hello.
We're having a conversation at home about what should the
rules
rules
be. The rules mean
what's he allowed to do?
Right.
Not what the road rules are.
Right. So you're talking like not allowed to be alone in the car with
at what
the girl?
point are you allowed?
Is that what you're saying, mate?
You take it always the wrong way.
What rules? Oh, you mean like don't have more than two or three guys
like
in
there's
your car?
There's obvious defined rules that like you can't have more than one person in the car after 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night.
I'll look them up. I'm going to Google the rules.
No, I want your rules.
Okay. I want to see what the existing rules are though.
Okay.
I'll remember that. Well, I can't remember that long ago when my kids were on their Ps.
Private feed available on Friday evening on the podcast, and immediately if you're watching on YouTube, you get it right now.
Look down, click on the link, go down in the description, and it says private.
It's there the minute this is available.
Yeah.
And in fact, this is going to be available early.
Cracking episode.
There was no EFTM podcast this week, so this is going to be available early too.
So you're getting this early.
Yeah, the video, I don't know, because I've got a bit on, so I don't know how I'm going to get it done. Anyway, problem for another day. And yes, Bill, we will try not to reference visual things too often for those audio listeners.
Reference visual things?
Like we showed something last week.
Okay.
I think we might have showed our contact photos and stuff like that.
Okay.
And Billy pointed out, rightfully.
Fair enough.
But
we don't want to alienate any of our listeners.
We don't want to become one of those podcasters, but you know what? Come to the video. We're here for you.
Hey.
That's just an idea. No, you absolutely. We don't want to alienate the audio listeners who've been with us.
They've been with us for 13 years.
It doesn't feel
that
like
long yet? Feels like 30
February.
years, but yeah.
February's 13, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Wow.
You remembered. Good on you, mate.
February 22.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, day after my daughter's birthday.
Okay, didn't know that.
Jackie's February 21. Everything's 21 for me. Wedding anniversary, November 21. Our going out anniversary, which we celebrate.
Going out anniversary.
August 21. And our firstborn, February 21. Yeah. So it's
there it is.
Significant number 21 for us. Yeah. Did I not tell you that before?
You've definitely told us that before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just being polite.
Sorry to double up on you.
Let's do this.
Welcome to Two Blokes Talking Tech
Not a bad price.
with Trevor Long from EFTM.com
Really handy device.
and Stephen Fennick from TechGuide.com.au.
Episode 612. Thanks to the great people at Netgear and Arlo. We'll tell you all about the home security needs that Arlo has you covered for and some of their great Christmas deals. And we'll tell you about your home networking needs with Netgear shortly as the show rolls on. Stephen, there was a press release today from the ACMA, the Australian Communications and Media Authority, the people that look after all the things to do with communications and media, obviously. And I want to read from the press release for context before I dig into the detail of this, because I have views. Okay, the headline from the ACMA, aside from what you read in the newspapers and whatever, the headline from the ACMA is Telstra pays $24 million in penalties and refunds after wrongly charging customers.
Which is accurate.
Correct. Telstra has paid a $3 million penalty and refunded over $17.7 million to thousands of customers after charging them for inactive internet services over an 11-year period. A further $3.4 million is to be refunded by the end of the year. The ACMA investigation found that 6,500 customers, the majority of whom were small businesses, were wrongly billed by Telstra at an average of around $2,600 over essentially an 11-year period.
Yeah, August 2012 to April 2012 to August 2023.
And they go on to say that this breached the customer billing accuracy rules under the Telecommunications Protections Code. All very true and good.
Yep.
Then it goes on with a bunch of other information and quotes from the chair of the ACMA, Nerida O'Loughlin. And one of her quotes is, Telstra has a history of incorrectly billing customers and it's just not good enough. At a time when small businesses are facing economic pressures, unaccounted costs can create a very real stress and financial hardship.
Yep.
What is not mentioned anywhere in this report, and I haven't read any of the media reporting, I should say, but anywhere in this press release, is that Telstra self-reported this to the ACMA.
So they went to the ACMA and said, "Here's what we did."
Yeah.
So it wasn't ACMA busting them.
No, ACMA did not get 2,000, let alone 6,500 complaints.
Right.
ACMA got a phone call or a letter from Telstra saying, "Dear ACMA,
Just so you know,
we made a boo-boo.
Yeah.
And we need to report this to you."
Yep.
Now, I've had a couple of conversations here, and I understand that, broadly what happened here, I'm oversimplifying, but broadly what happened here was that during the transition to the NBN, a small business, an ADSL service, maybe a phone line, whatever, and they ring up and they go, "We got to disconnect the ADSL because NBN's coming."
Yep.
And Telstra does some work, they set it up, and they get the NBN. Internet's working, everyone, good stuff.
Yep.
But at some point in the system, in the back end, the computer says no and doesn't essentially account for the disconnection of the ADSL. And so for 11 years, they are charged for NBN and ADSL.
Who in those small businesses, like who's doing the books? I'm thinking, would you notice 2,600 in there?
Well, I think you're going to say you would, right?
Well,
you'd
you'd check things, wouldn't you?
I'll be honest with you. My internet is direct debited.
Yep.
My bookkeeper, Sue, just make sure the bills are paid and accounted for.
Yep.
She doesn't really analyse the lines, the bills.
Right.
So I could easily miss this.
Okay.
But in my defence, only yesterday, in fact, I said to Sue, "Can you send me a list of all my recurring expenses so that I can just check there's nothing?" Because I often subscribe to some service for a story and then forget, and it's been in 12 months,
Yeah.
So just so I can check whether there's anything I should,
should
get
cancel.
rid of.
Yeah, of course.
And I obviously, in this case, you have to assume that these businesses didn't notice like it's the NBN. They go, "Oh, the internet's more expensive now."
Well,
maybe that's what they thought.
Probably, and when they're called small businesses, like 2,600 a month is probably a fraction of what their turnover.
Well, 2,600 overall.
Yeah.
That's over.
Yeah,
that's 2,600 over 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's a very small. That's 11 years, $2,600. It's
right.
not much
So
money.
it's 2,600 over that period.
Yes.
Okay, right. I thought it was 2,600 a month.
On average.
You'd notice that.
You'd notice that, right?
Yeah.
So imagine you were paying $59 a month for your ADSL.
Yeah, right, I understand.
And then you end up on a $69 NBN plan.
Yeah.
You're paying, $120.
Yep.
And you think to yourself, the internet's more expensive.
Well, in that case, that could easily get through the cracks. If it's only $60 a month or something.
The ACMA did not receive 100 calls about this. And Telstra never received like 50 calls in 1 month about it. What happened was, over the course of years, they definitely had people go, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
You double charged me. And they went, oh my God, what's happened here? And they fixed it and,
So
got
they
it
must have
sorted,
looked
right?
at other customers and
But
found out.
there was no obvious pattern in the call centre anywhere
of course.
because there wasn't hundreds of calls coming through.
Maybe because people don't want to wait on hold to go to the call centre.
It's
a hassle. Isn't
Over
it,
the course of time, though, that there was enough people, and at some point, someone in customer service went, "Well, this is weird. How did that happen?"
Yeah.
And obviously, they investigated, and then they self-reported, and then they got a fine. And I just think that it's inflammatory from the ACMA to not just say Telstra. The headline should have been, because I know you said it's accurate. It is accurate.
Yeah.
But the headline, a press release from a government body around a fine, should be Telstra fined $3 million for overcharging customers over a 10-year period.
But that's not juicy. There's $24 million involved.
Why is it the ACMA's job to be juicy?
Well, I think it's just to illustrate the scale of the issue. The scale of it was that they got fined $3 million, but they owe customers $17 million.
Yeah.
That's the big.
And
That's the lead.
and they've paid them back.
Yeah. So
Everyone's been paid back with interest.
The comms person at ACMA
Has gone,
is an ex-journo, right?
Yeah.
That's the comms person at ACMA is an ex-journalist, and they're writing it how they were trained to write it.
Because they want to get coverage.
They want people to think, oh, geez, Telstra, 24 million, penalties, refunds. It's got all the keywords in it, right?
I just feel like the inflammatory nature of it is...
Well, but it happened, mate.
It's not appropriate.
It happened though.
Like but there was no march in the street. There wasn't even an uproar.
I understand. But the fact that, and I agree with you, it should have been included that Telstra actually came to them with this. It wasn't like they got caught. But the way I was trained as a journo is that if you witnessed a car crash, how would you describe that to someone? Oh, you should have seen it. There was 7 people killed and this happened, and that's your story. That's how the things you mention first is the order in which you should write that story, and that's exactly what this person has done here and said Telstra's paid $24 million, fined $3 million, $17 million in refunds, but they've still paid out of their coffers $24 million. And that's why it's written that way. And the fact that it's a refund is that it's mentioned in the lead, but it's still the sum of that total, that money is big. That's a lot of money. $24 million. That's for some companies. I know Telstra's a big company, but $24 million is not nothing.
It's a drop in the ocean.
You think so?
For Telstra,
yeah, right.
It's a massive drop in the ocean.
Yeah.
I mean, I should look it up. Let me look that up. Telstra annual revenue.
Okay.
Just revenue.
Several billion.
Just revenue. $14 billion.
Okay, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
Like what's
in the grand scheme of things? Is that what you're saying? This is not huge, and that $3 million fine is like someone getting a parking fine, really, isn't it? It's not massive, but still, it was. I think too that the sort of the juicy nature of this is also in the fact that Telstra overcharged customers. It's because
totally
for 11 years, Telstra charged customers wrongly for 11 years. It wasn't 11 months. 11 years, which is a long time. That's as long as we've been doing our podcast. They've been charging people.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I mean? So that I think
Telstra has 22 million customers.
Okay, but the implication is Telstra wrongly charging means Telstra is inefficient. They're making mistakes. And Telstra being Telstra in the telco world is like Apple in the phone world, where if the story involves Apple, it's massive. If the story involves Telstra, our biggest telco, it's bigger news. It's big news. It'd be interesting if this was Optus, how this would have been written, but the fact that it's Telstra, it tracks its own set of rules.
Now, obviously, I'm not massively siding with Telstra. I'm just saying I think it's broadly poor form the way it's been reported because
they were a victim of their own honesty.
True, but it would have been a lot worse if they were discovered instead of self-reporting.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
But here's the thing: the final paragraph out of 15 paragraphs is if customers are concerned they're being wrongly billed, they check their bills and discuss the matter with their telco. They continue to have an issue, go to the ombudsman. Right?
Yeah.
I just think from a government agency perspective, the story here should be Telstra fined $3 million for overcharging customers. ACMA reminds people to check your bills. Like that's the story here, because
that's
the takeaway for
here.
me is I might just open those invoices more often than I just pay them.
Just check your
have a little
ingoings, outgoings. Yeah, like the person running the books might have missed, and I didn't realise it was only like $60-$70 a month, whatever it is. Which even a small business in the grand scheme of things, that's not much. But it just, like you said, it really. The example here is just go through your statements and say, okay, well, I'm still paying that. Really?
I mean, the average, that $2,600 is actually it averages out to be only $20 a month.
Really,
average.
Okay.
But obviously there was probably a lot more.
But still, $20 a month over a period of 11 years, that adds up, mate.
It's actually a really good example of how savings is good.
Save $20 a month,
but
for 11 years.
I think the message for everyone, including our listeners right now, is. It's a demonstration of how you can let costs run away, small business or family. Right? I look at my family and I go, man, the things we're subscribed to. And look, we're not. We've had those moments. Certainly, I remember when we had Jackson. We were like, okay, so we've only got this much money saved. Amanda's not working because she's got to look after Jacko. We think we can go this long with that money that we've saved. Let's cut off Foxtel. You're cutting things, right?
Okay.
Because you want to make your budget tight, right?
Yeah.
So if you are, I'm not in that situation right now where I'm cutting the budget, but if you are, then the first thing you do is you analyse those costs. If and this is a little bit editorial, but to say to someone, if you're going to complain about the cost of living or interest rates or anything like that, and you don't know the date of every renewal for every streaming subscription that you've got, and don't get me wrong, if you're not checking that you can get a better mobile deal,
better phone plan, I was going to say that.
Don't get me started, right?
True,
Because
and your internet plan too, internet for that matter too.
Anyone that has listened to the EFTM podcast, as Stephen does every week, it happens.
When you do it,
the number of calls, that are. And often they are a lovely old couple or someone like that, but often they're just a young couple. Yeah. And I say couple because I always ask someone, they want a new plan. Hang on, let's just look at everything in your house, right? Because I like to go, hang on a minute, I could save you money, but then what's your wife paying? And often they're bundled. And then what's your internet? And let's separate it all out. And we end up saving hundreds.
It's not hard to do.
You can
do it. Yeah.
And I just think that if you're a small business struggling, then you should have noticed this thing. But again, I don't doubt any of those businesses might have missed it because it wasn't that incrementally bad for them.
Big. If it was hundreds of dollars a month, you'd think, "Oh, what's this?" But
I know it's saucy. I know it's good headlines, and I'm sure they got great coverage for it. But the reality is, Telstra got fined $3 million for self-reporting a billing issue over 11 years that bugger all people noticed.
Yeah, that ACMA didn't even notice. But I think, and not even that would have been a good story. If someone had a journalist had broken that story, it's massive.
Mate,
like $17 million overbilled, that would have been huge.
Any one of those people that Telstra overbilled had have come to the media before going to Telstra, it would have been wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
So would have had a totally different nature to it. But the fact that they were open and honest about it and is it a slap on the wrist? $3 million for them?
Yeah,
slap
absolutely.
On the wrist.
That's nothing.
But the $17 million they've paid back to customers though, that's solid.
Yeah, no doubt at all. I'm not downplaying that at all. Yeah. But I just think I just wish for a different kind of world where it's like
rewards
the clickbait
honesty,
thing that we talked about.
Rewards honesty.
Well, yeah, in part,
you're right.
Telstra, let me be clear. Telstra has absolutely stuffed up big time and been fined by ACMA many times over many things.
Of course. Yeah.
Which is essentially why they're under the skin of ACMA here. Yeah. And that's I think, I wonder if it was Aussie Broadband, who've been around for, they had a thing, I think they've been around for, is it 10 or 20 now?
10 years.
That they had a great post on socials about how long they've been around and the history of it and everything. But if they'd been overcharging people in this small amount by that length of time, and then did an audit when they were about to list on the stock exchange, so they audited all their bills and accounts, and they went, "Oh, geez, a bit of a problem here. We've refunded $10 million, and we're just going to tell ACMA about it." Do you reckon ACMA would have led with that headline if it wasn't Telstra?
No. As I said, Telstra attracts its own attention, and if a company like Aussie Broadband wouldn't have, it would have been a lot less too, the amount, because it's got the sheer number of customers they've got. But you mentioned clickbait; that's a clickbaity headline.
It is.
People are going to click on that, and the comms person at ACMA wants people to read their stuff, and that sticks out. So it's
well done, comms person.
It's
accurate.
Nailed it. It's accurate, and you're thinking, "Ooh, what's happened here?" And you want to click on it.
It's accurate and it gets
Put it this
clicks.
way, if I'll tell you this, if I haven't covered this on Tech Guide, and I probably won't, but if I had have written this story, if this was sent to me by Telstra as a press release, right? They said, if they had sent this out and it's not coming from ACMA, and the Telstra, they probably would have reported the fact that they're being fined $3 million in the lead. And then down below, they would have said, and by the way,
details.
we've paid back $17 million. I still would have added it up and written it how they've written it. I still would have put $24 million in total. They've paid like that's a really good headline. Yeah, I would have. The journo,
proud newspaper man finds great headlines.
Yeah, that's right. The journo in me would have thaught, that's how I would have written it too. Yeah.
All right.
But the radio man over there thinks, you know what?
Well,
cut him a bit of slack, eh?
I don't know. Maybe am I getting soft? Oh no, I thought I was getting harder in my old age.
Harder in your old age?
I thought I was getting angrier.
Right. Yeah, I think you are too. But in this case, you're not. You've got a little bit of a soft spot for Telstra, haven't you?
Not really.
Have you ever? And when's the last time you were a Telstra customer?
During
during
the
COVID.
pandemic, I had a bit of a crack around.
We both did, actually. Yeah, we both went back to
We both
Telstra.
flirted.
Hello.
I flirted with a few
we had
companies.
an affair with Vodafone, then went back to Telstra.
I haven't tried
and now-
Optus for a minute.
I haven't
Coverage was rubbish at my house for Optus. I couldn't have phone calls.
Telstra coverage was good. Optus coverage is rubbish at my place too.
Really?
Yeah,
Isn't
has
that
been for a long time. I had the problem when I was working at News Limited because that was their account. My
Yeah,
phone
right.
was a company number that they paid the bill, and it was through Optus. And so there were, honestly, I'd walk out, my place, I've got to have to walk up the top of my driveway to talk on my mobile. It's probably different now. It's better now. But back then, when I was a customer, terrible.
Nothing. Two Blokes Talking Telstra.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Now, did you see our man Elon Musk the other day?
Did I see?
He was on a talk show. He was on a show.
It was
it was a conference.
It was an event, a conference.
Yeah, it was a conference.
Yeah. Is how I describe it.
And the interviewer, whose name escapes me right now, brings up the fact that Disney, aka also Bob Iger, he names him, were considering removing their advertising from X, which is also known as Twitter. And his reaction to this news was the snapshot that was played on every TV news and every little bit of social media, including on X, was basically they can go F themselves and F you, Bob. And if you want to, I think he said, they're trying to blackmail me with advertising, with money, then they can then F you, see you later.
And it was a typical Elon too. It was clearly an unscripted rant. Because he stopped, and then he went, you know what, I'm going to double down, and he said it again.
Yeah.
And the thing was, I feel like he was trying to play to the audience, and he didn't get the reaction he wanted. I think he thought he was going to get cheers and jeers, and then he realised he
just got stunned silence.
He wasn't at the Cybertruck launch.
Yeah.
It was not fanboys
right.
in the room. It was
Yeah,
journos and businesses, right? But see, they
got their lead. That was their headline.
That's a good headline.
Yeah.
But I actually think the missed part of this, which was reported widely but not enough, was he then went on to say this boycott is the kind of thing that will kill the company.
Yeah. And
this was the first time he admitted that the company was in strife.
And he also mentioned that if they decide to do this and X dies, then we'll know it's their fault.
He said everyone on Earth will know it was their fault.
Yeah. Which is strange, isn't it? Because you're kind of saying, well, if no one wants to advertise with our platform, we're assuming the reason is that they don't think they're getting their money's worth, or they just don't think it's the right fit. Is that a failure on them or on the advertiser? Like the way he was talking, he goes, it's a failure of the advertiser not to realise the benefit of advertising on X.
Yeah, but
that's his own reality distortion field.
He is living in such a bubble that he doesn't know what's really happening on his own platform. And I'm not talking about the hate speech or anything like that. I've never really experienced that. No. Like I don't see it. Right? Yeah. I think you've got to search that stuff out.
Yeah, during the recent weeks with Israel, Palestine, there's been a few saucy tweets flying around.
I've got no doubt, but they never came across my timeline. Yeah. I haven't seen them obviously in the last few weeks. But what I see is crap ads. Non-stop. I rarely see the good stuff, right?
But you only Twitter you've kind of basically
I just log on once a week to check DMs and make sure there's nothing going on.
I just scroll through it sometimes, and you're right, it's become
I saw an ad today.
Ads everywhere.
I saw an ad today for a device that clones your car key. Now, I'm telling you right now, that's either a scam or it's made for people that are trying to steal cars, not bloody people that have lost a car key.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's just crap.
I still scroll through because there's a few accounts like that are like funny accounts that I don't mind viewing, and they've got also like funny videos in their accounts. So.
I think if Twitter was a powerful marketing platform, then these companies would be back very quickly. I think they've done a genuine analysis and gone, are we really getting our... And I've said this plenty of times, that's what I did. I did an analysis. I wasn't advertising, but I was wondering how my time was best spent. And I simply looked at how many people were clicking on the links. Yeah. Because what are we there for? Are we there to yell and argue at people? I've tried to not do that. So if I'm not there for that, then I'm there to...
Do you miss that?
No.
So on Threads is a bit more friendly environment.
Very friendly. And I'll have the odd fun.
Have you had a little Barney on Threads?
No, on TikTok I'll have the odd fun conversation because plenty of people are being idiots on TikTok comments, and I normally just say, "You're a great person to have at a dinner party, wouldn't you be?" So I've had it. Obviously, I got banned at one point, so I've got to be careful. Yeah,
careful.
So if you sit down, if I was Bob Iger, at Disney, and by the way, conversation for another show. Didn't he come out today?
Doing very well.
Didn't he come out this week and say something like, "We've got to put entertainment before principles"? You know, they're basically saying go woke, go broke kind of thing. Yeah. I think that's been said a bit by him as well.
Yeah.
So if you're Bob Iger and you had they're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on advertising. Yeah. Give me a breakdown
you want
of what's working.
Yeah.
Right? Now, there's stuff that you can't measure,
like
junkets on movies and stuff like that. It's very hard to measure, but you can quantify. So you can say, well, we had this movie and this star appeared on Sunrise and Today Show and Studio 10, and here's the numbers we put against it.
Yep.
And then we spent this much money on it. And so once you take the mainstream out and you go digital platforms, right?
Yep.
Tell me how that went. We ran these Google ads, these Facebook ads, these TikTok ads, and these Twitter ads. Well, who clicked? Well, I'm telling you, Twitter's at the bottom.
Yeah.
It's going to be at the bottom of that list. So you're going to withdraw your money and go, that's easy. Let's make a political statement and let's get out of that thing. And let's save that money or put it somewhere better.
In his book, the Walter Isaacson biography, remember I read that or heard it. One of the chapters described remember he had a drama with Apple and Apple threatening to pull out.
Yep. And then he went and
had a chat with
yep.
Tim Cook, and Tim Cook goes, "No, mate, we were never going to do it." And they ended up still doing that. Whether they still
they're on that list.
Yeah,
they're on the list.
They're on the list to go
as well.
Yeah, right. Okay, but he never said "F you" to Tim Cook.
No, but I'll tell you the reason why. Bob Iger had also been at that conference that day. Which is where he said this thing about entertainment versus principles.
Yes.
So I think you've got to remember it wasn't an attack on
Disney. I think
Disney.
he even mentioned, is Bob here? Remember he even asked about it.
He was thinking, is he still in the room? So I'm going to make this point. So I think that people reported it as an attack on Disney. It was an attack on every company. Yeah. But he just thought to himself, if Bob's still here, I'll say, you know, that's what that was.
He's out of the box, isn't he, Elon? We know you read. Mate, I reckon if you actually took the trouble, you would appreciate just how nuts he is. This book, right? how mad he's. But you know what? What's the saying? Genius and madness are a very thin line. He's that personified.
I say it over and over again for the pure chance that Elon actually one day. Yeah. For some reason, I'm told to sit down with him and have an interview, and he looks at what I've written. I say it all the time. The bloke's a genius.
Oh, yeah. No
bloke's
doubt about
an absolute genius of our time.
Yes.
I think in 50 years, we will look back on this generation and see what he did, not for humanity, just for the progression of things. Forget electric cars will be the bottom of the run. It'll be nothing compared to
his
space and renewables and stuff like that.
Because the book, the theme of the book was that he was driven to... his one big thing, especially with SpaceX, was to extend the human race beyond Earth. He wanted us to go explore the universe.
It's wild, imagine.
Which is huge, right?
Yeah.
But
that genius, I respect.
Yeah, he was also the sort of guy who, and Steve Jobs was a bit like this. Steve Jobs would push his guys beyond what they thought was possible. And it's not many people who have that kind of pull and power to get you to achieve something you never realised you could.
Yeah.
And, mate, without those people, without Steve Jobs, we may never have had the iPhone.
That's right.
Without Elon Musk, we may have never had SpaceX or Tesla. We may never have had that. And so, while he's a bit rough around the edges and he's a little bit forthright in his opinions, he's still very much a guy who sees things that other people don't. He really can encapsulate and get to the heart of everything. Like the book's fascinating in how much detail he knew about everything.
Yeah.
He's a real detail guy who could sit down with the engineers and say, what about if we do this, and this, like as a trained engineer would. And in SpaceX, in the book, he saved him a ton of money and a ton of time by saying, let's just give it a try and see if it works. And it worked most of the time.
Yeah.
So, he's colourful to say the least, but there's no denying he's a person who's going to be spoken about for centuries to come. He's a guy who changed the world in some way.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But he's a Fruit Loop.
No doubt about it, mate. I think they all are. Even Steve Jobs, you read his book, like Walter Isaacson wrote his book, very honest appraisal of him, and a lot of and basically implied he's a bit of a prick.
Yeah.
And acted that way.
Yeah.
But yet he's praised for his being such a visionary because he put people in a situation where it's do or die. You got to do this. We got to do it. And we're going to do on our movie show the Steve Jobs movie with Michael Fassbender as Steve Jobs. Remember we watched it together? We actually saw that, buffer zone. We saw that together.
One seat was the buffer zone back then.
That was I think a good illustration of how Jobs had these high expectations of what's possible, just like Elon Musk has as well.
Yeah.
Fascinating. No, it's a fascinating read. Honestly, one of the most interesting reads of his biography, and it's no punches pulled in it. Like, he approved it and he's quoted in it. He cooperated, but it does mention the fact that he's mad. He's something. He's different.
Will Twitter survive?
Mate, it's sinking ship. There's holes in the boat. They've got to fix it up. They've got to really, I think, sort of go back to their essence as being this platform that's this sort of honest and forthright and sort of gives people a say without being too crassly commercial like it is now. Like you said, there's ads for gadgets and stuff that look like scams, some of those ads. And mate, it's a business. So whether it can survive like that,
he can only
losing.
I don't
people,
care how many billions of dollars you've got.
Yeah.
When you're losing hundreds of millions,
you
got to take a look, don't you?
And the book also implies that the $44 billion he paid overs, way overs, and was obsessed with cutting costs and generating more revenue and getting rid of engineers and the things he did at Twitter. At first, you're thinking, wow, rough time for everybody. Yeah.
I don't know. I worry about its future, and I think that if it has a future as this weird X platform that we talked about the other week, it's like the
he wants
WeChat,
to make it a payment platform,
like WeChat is in China. I mean, I'll never use X to pay for something.
Okay, yeah,
nah, not happening.
Yeah, well, mate, he's got a history. He's got a past. Like PayPal was one of his products, so he knows a thing or two about payment platforms and. I don't know, mate, but you know what? He's the sort of bloke who can duck and weave and make some deals and make some moves, and lo and behold, you never know. Like, because in the book, I'll mention again, like Twitter, SpaceX, even PayPal were on the verge of bankruptcy. They were gone, nothing, no chance, and then suddenly he pulls it out of the fire. Is X going to be the same thing? We don't know. I think it's a struggle at the moment.
Watch this space.
Everything about tech you never wanted to know. This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Two Blokes Talking Tech is proudly supported by our good mates at Arlo, right here, Arlo. And look, if you're looking to some Christmas gifting options, boy, have they got some choices for you.
Dad's going to love an Arlo camera.
Well, I think that's a really good idea to gift someone an Arlo camera. Like, you can look at maybe the Essential outdoor cam, which is very affordable, or the Essential indoor cam. But I think both are they both under $200 on special? So that's a gift that is affordable, but also very, very useful. So if you're thinking, you know what, here's a way to start off our security journey with some cameras or a doorbell. You might have a video doorbell. You might be a bit like Trev and I. You order a few things through Amazon or online purchases.
I want to know where those parcels are still sitting there.
If you're getting
detection,
a delivery,
baby.
Correct. If you're getting a delivery, you want to know when and where. And if it comes to your front door with the doorbell, I love the fact that if normally they ring your doorbell and the packages are down below, unless they're holding them. But often they're on the deck, and you can actually see the top to toe. You can see if there's a package there waiting for you, so you know straight away that if it's a courier
I'm thinking about taping out a drop zone, like,
so that's in view of the camera.
Here, make
sure. Well, that's what
I've
got at my place. Like, whenever someone rings the doorbell, and like often a delivery is just ring the doorbell and they'll walk away.
Yeah,
they just to say here it is. I then tune into my other camera, which looks at the front door, and go, oh, there it is. I'm good. Yeah,
just relax. Yeah. Doorbell's got me covered normally.
So look, doorbell. The indoor camera, the Essential indoor camera, which has a privacy shield, by the way. So if there's a few people who are uncomfortable with an indoor camera, you know just at a glance whether that privacy shield, it's white, you can't miss it. If it's covering the lens, you're all good. But when you go out and you want it to detect any movement, say there's a burglar in your house, it's going to detect them. So whether it's a doorbell, a camera, and all kinds of cameras too, Essential all the way up to the Ultras, all the higher quality, the Go, if you want to maybe look at your building site, your boat, Trev's country, your country home, Although we're at your country home now, aren't we?
Mate, what are you talking about?
But if you have you got a holiday house,
I need
or-
one for my holiday house in the
And your
country,
yacht.
one on the beach, and
one at
also
your
my
building
yacht.
site. So, yeah, that takes a 4G SIM card, so you're not connected to Wi-Fi. You can keep an eye on stuff. All those things, and there are also lots of bundles, too. If you want to purchase a bundle, lots to save there as well. But if you want to check it out, all those deals, all those products, all those bundles, you can check it out at arlo.com.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.
Well, I feel like this is a leading the witness kind of question for you. Outside of carrying a handkerchief around with you, how old school are you? Like, how old school are you with things in your life? Because
That's my hanky, by the way. Love.
I think yeah, okay, mate, no one wants to see.
Never leave home without it.
No one wants to see.
So what do you do if you sneeze or you got a runny nose in public? What do you do?
If I sneeze,
you
I
do?
block my nose and sneeze.
But in your hand?
Well, I'm not letting it out. I'm
Okay.
holding it in.
So you block it?
Yeah.
What about if you got a runny nose?
I wouldn't leave the house.
Okay. What about if you're out and you get a runny nose?
I took tissues with me today because I knew I was going to need them.
Okay, fair
But
enough.
no,
Okay.
that's just a
That's
no
why I
for
got
me.
a hanky, mate.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
So when the Beatles new song Now and Then came out, I logged on and I'd missed the whole. I didn't know this was coming. I just found out about it the day before it released, right?
Yep.
And so I'd missed the whole pre-ordering of albums and things. There was a
Yeah.
cassette brought out
Wow.
of that song. I'm filthy.
As
I
well.
didn't buy it. You
Wow.
couldn't. It's sold
And
out.
how would you play it?
I've got a cassette deck.
You still
I bought
got
this
one here?
really cool cassette deck.
Did you really?
Yeah, it's like it cost me $180, I think it was.
Wow.
But it's a really nice.
So it plays the tape cassettes.
just plays a cassette.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wasn't a boombox.
No, Bluetooth out, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
It's
nice.
a very cool little unit.
That's old
but,
school.
But I bought the blue and the red albums, the vinyls,
I noticed.
and they're blue and red.
And they're not cheap,
the
by
physical
the way.
vinyls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hitch nay
Solid.
on the price nay.
Is Amanda watching? Or?
Absolutely. It was tax deduction because I had
Tax
to
deduction, yeah.
review a turntable.
Yes.
Mr. ATO Commissioner. Hi.
Self-reporting like Telstra we are. Self-reporting.
Can we edit this?
Is it?
No. So anyway, so I'm reviewing a JBL a turntable and
Yes.
speaker system. Needed an album. I didn't have any handy that were any good, so grabbed a new one and proved that you could still buy vinyl. That was why.
Vinyl's
digging
awesome.
a hole for myself.
Yeah, awesome.
Anyway, I found myself absolutely loving that concept of just and then having it
Love it.
run through the album, and then it
I
stops.
love
You're like,
it.
what happened? I got to turn it over. I don't know. That old school.
That is cool. I'm
It's
into that
good,
too, mate.
but
I'm into vinyl in a big way.
But
I bought back
I don't do
my
much-
childhood in vinyl.
I don't do much else that's old school.
Yeah. I'm still I read physical books.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, 99% of the books I read are physical books, and they're on my bookshelf. So I'm not much like I've got a Kindle, and I read some publications that way, and I read news on the internet and stuff. But I'm still very much a physical book guy because I love the look and feel and smell of a book.
Yep.
And I love to see at a glance how far into the book I am. So I'm halfway, I'm 3/4.
Isn't there a scale of that
Yeah,
on
there
a
is.
Kindle?
It says a percentage on the Kindle. It's not the same though. I don't know. Look, and look, the advantage of having the Kindle or the Kobo or whatever you're using is that you can store lots of books on there. So I could have 100 books on there, but try carrying 100 physical books with you. It's tough. So books are like the books that I have on the go. I think we mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. I'm reading a fiction book.
Wild.
I read a fiction book, physical one. I read a couple of non-fiction books at the same time. So I've got 3 physical books on the go, and I've got an audio book or 2 on the go as well.
Right.
So one of them it could be like a biography. One of them could be a novel. And so I could easily interchange between them. What do I feel like listening to now?
I feel like there's something else that we share. But is this old school? Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Watching TV.
Yeah.
I watch, mate.
Is that old school, you reckon?
I put the TV news on.
Okay, I'll ask you before you say anything. Do your kids watch TV?
No.
Because they're on their devices, aren't they?
Yeah, they're on YouTube. At best, they're on YouTube.
Same with my kids. My kids, they'd be on
They,
there.
but let me be clear.
Well,
they
they watch
see
now
TV
they watch Netflix
because
and
when they
stuff.
come in for dinner, if the news is on, they'll wave at Pete and say good day to Ali.
So you're talking about live free-to-air TV?
I'm talking about free-to-air TV.
Right,
yeah.
okay, that is old school. because it's a lot of people I reckon 90% of like younger viewers be streaming if it's a Netflix or it's a show they're binging.
I struggle to let go of it because I don't consume a lot other than that. I don't read around on the internet though.
I get all my news, or 90% of my news I get from TV.
That's it. And I've talked about this before, but I think that it's the smartest thing you can do to, I don't know, just to take away the burden of the worries of the world is stop reading about it, right?
Yeah.
And what I do is when I get here in the morning, I put the Today Show on.
Yeah.
And
naturally.
Absolutely. If
Not
I'm here,
sunrise.
I'll normally watch the 5 to 5:30 news.
Yeah.
And then just, pay attention during the headlines. And let's be clear.
Mate, I watch the news all the time.
I'm in the studio sometimes and I listen to it. It's the same news all morning, right?
Yeah.
But if you listen to the 5:35 bulletin and then the 7 o'clock bulletin, they tweak, they change because they've got people out there developing and stuff. Most people watch breakfast TV for like 15 minutes, half an hour. They're not watching for 3.5 hours, which is why it's repetitive in that sense.
So you said when you're working here in your office, you have the TV on.
Yeah.
And when I'm working in my office, I've got 2 TVs on.
Well, I sometimes have.
I sometimes have 9 and 7
Sky News
running.
on the left, on the right hand TV, and 9 on the left.
Okay.
And then the security cameras in the middle.
Right.
And then Seinfeld on here. Like, I'll just do it all. That's true.
And you know what? And I even know, I know that 11:30 is the news. I know that 4 and 4:30 is the news, and 6, of course. I try to watch make a habit of watching the 6 o'clock
I try
news.
and tune into the first 10 to 15 minutes of that just to really understand what are the big things today.
Big issues, the big stories,
Because you can
That's fair.
You can attack mainstream media all you like. I don't think any of our viewers are that way. But the fact is that if you want the best editorial look at the news of the day in terms of what's the priority, what are the sides, mate, it's unbelievably good coverage still.
It is absolutely right.
And that's what the internet misses is that.
Although I remember, I know that a lot of TV news is like newspapers used to be break the stories, and the TV would then report it the next day. So I can remember a couple of journo friends of mine who used to work at the Daily Telly with me went on to become TV journos.
Yes.
And they used to call when the newspapers were reporting, it was, here are the scripts. They used to say, they go through the page, okay, we're going to cover that, off you go.
Yeah.
And of course, there'd be court reporters and stuff that have it live, those sections. But a lot of the stories that are on TV used to be, not now, used to be because the newspapers broke the stories back then. Yeah. That's old school. I'm not that old school. I don't read a newspaper.
I still get the Saturday and Sunday papers delivered.
Do you really? At home? Wow.
Yep.
That is old school.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you know what I do? I normally get up after the news has been on in the morning, or we've got kids' sport or whatever, so I'll sit down at lunchtime and just, mate, I don't
which
read.
Ones? All of them?
Telegraph. No, just the Saturday and Sunday telly, man. I'm loyal.
Saturday and Sunday telly. I used to work at the Sunday telly too. Sunday telly sport. Good on you.
Although, actually, how am I loyal? The Herald.
Yeah, I don't work there anymore. Yeah. Hello. The Herald's owned by Channel 9.
Lefties. I don't know.
What?
I don't know. I don't.
Okay.
I've always been a Telegraph guy.
Right.
I just always have.
Me
right?
too. Yeah.
Anyway, so I'll just flick through. Like I just want to. Sometimes those little stories at the bottom of the page, there's
fillers,
like 3 of them.
Fillers. Yeah.
They're interesting.
Fillers.
Sometimes they're the things you would never have seen on the internet.
As a cadet, I used to write those.
Yeah.
When I was a cadet journo, you'd have all the or tell you what happens, right? You write a story that you think's a great story,
and someone else
thinks it ends up being a little filler. You think you've written. We used to back in newspaper days. When you'd go to your chief of staff and you say, right, I've got this, and he goes, yeah, okay, go write me 30 centimetres. He'd give you a measurement.
Right.
So 30 centimetres means that in a column, it'd be 30 centimetres long. So
and then broken up.
It's a big, like a page lead, it'd be like 40 centimetres.
Right.
A filler's like, give me 20 centimetres. So when I was sports editor, I'd say, oh, yeah, I need 45 centimetres, and that's a big sort of feature. Or, give me 20 centimetres for a down page story.
Yeah.
And like 5 centimetres is a filler. So the worst thing that can happen to you is if you've written 30 centimetres and they cut it down to 5. And often often the sub-editors don't quite get the essence of your story in 5 centimetres.
No, that's right.
So that's the...
Again, I'm not reading the news via the papers. I'm just kind of scanning the...
Looking at the pictures.
A lot of the time, mate, I don't...
And the headlines.
I honestly don't read a lot. I really, really don't.
See, newspapers, honestly, newspaper training for me has been valuable because it was really developed my news sense. So when I was sports editor, even when I was just a journo, you'd have to see the internet. Isn't it funny how I've gone from being a newspaper journo to an internet journalist? Internet journos, if you're running a website, you can tell what stories are doing well and you can change them and do whatever you want to them. So the readers make your decisions for you.
Yeah.
A newspaper journo, a newspaper editor, you have to make the decision
That's
for
right.
the reader.
Well, an internet
so you've
journal,
got to decide.
they'll change the headline.
Yeah, that's
On-
right.
If it's not getting clicks, it's like, you know who I've unfollowed on Facebook?
Who's that?
News.com.au.
Really? Yeah,
Because,
they've become
mate,
clickbaity.
It's
Yes.
just, mate,
I've noticed that in the last couple
honestly,
of years. Yeah,
seriously,
last
I'm
year.
sick of it.
You know why? I'll tell you
Because
why.
the traffic.
No, they're trying to compete with the Daily Mail. They're trying to compete with all the the Daily
Yeah, I
Sun,
know.
all these other clickbaity headline, these news outlets that are that's how they got to make up the slack by doing that. And you know what? How many of those headlines do you click on? But I reckon I click on 80% of them.
That's why I've unfollowed it, because
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate that I'm doing it.
You hate that you're
it's
doing
not
it.
adding anything to my life by knowing,
Yeah, I know.
you know, why that
But
viral thing happened.
But that in is the essence of internet journalism.
Yeah.
And I remember I had to learn when I first
it
started
so
Tech
much.
Guide, right? I started Tech Guide six weeks after leaving the Telegraph, right?
Yeah.
Newspaper. And I had to learn that a clever headline that would have won you an award in the newspaper means nothing on the internet because it's a good headline, but people are going to click on it. Seeing it is one thing. Them clicking on it and making the action to read it, that's a whole totally different thing. When you buy the newspaper, you buy the whole newspaper.
Maybe
you don't just buy one
I might
section.
be waiting out for it, but I'm waiting for the internet to pivot back to just
Yeah.
genuine content being king.
Maybe. And do you remember when the iPad came out, like around 2010? And then you could read, I don't know whether you still can do that. I know there's like magazines that are basically
How you can flick through the
digitally
newspaper. Yeah, you can
represented.
still get the
Can
digital
you still
newspaper.
do that? Because I
You
remember
know how I
that
know
was
that?
a big
Because
thing.
Amanda still reads it.
Right. The newspaper.
Well,
On-
what she does is I think she uses the app more now, but she used to look at how it was formatted, especially when she was working for Matt. She'd look at how, you know, what page it's on,
Okay,
you know,
right,
that kind
right.
of stuff.
Okay, yeah, sure. So she was doing her.
You can still get the digital
coverage,
version that
doing
way.
coverage
Yeah, yeah,
reports. Yeah, right. But another.
You know where
old-
else you're old school?
Yeah,
You?
Yeah.
Oh, my phone's
I
dead. How good's
carry.
that?
I've got a wallet.
That and
I've
your
got a
landline
wallet.
phone.
I've got a landline as well. It's a VoIP line actually, but still landline.
You're an
Technically.
old man.
Well, I have that because I do all my radio through the landline.
Champion, I do all my radio
Yeah.
through a mobile phone.
Okay, but you got really good reception here, and mine can be a little bit how you going?
Oh, okay.
A bit iffy.
Okay.
I got off and be on calls and say call failed.
Mate, the amount of cash you carry is old school.
Mate, you want to see?
Mate, go for your life.
There's my wallet.
That's unbelievable.
There's my wallet, like my Sigrid wallet. Right, there's all my credit cards.
We're showing a wallet now
Okay.
that is hard
Yeah.
shell.
So you describe
The
it for
cards
Billy.
are- the
describe it for Billy Weaver.
The cards are flicking up.
And I've got
Holy Jesus! Give me
Cash-
that. Let me see how much. Give it here. Give it here. I'm going to count
Cashola.
it. Give it here. I'm going to count it. Give it here. All right. We got 50, 100, $130. You're carrying 100. What do you need $130 for?
I don't know.
Why would you need $130?
Mate, that's a lot. That's a few coffees. That's good. That might be a snack or something. To buy.
Where are you putting the coins?
In my pocket. Coins go in the pocket. Coins in the pocket. My wallet has all my cards and also my my cash. I do have on my phone and on my watch my credit cards, but mate, whatever's there, whatever I can reach quicker is what's there.
It's remarkable.
So you don't carry a wallet at all.
No, well,
And
I know at all times where
your
my
digital
wallet is.
license is what you.
I know at all times where my wallet is because
Yeah.
it's often with my passport because I always take it overseas in case you're hiring a car or whatever. It often does with a
Right.
digital driver's license.
Okay.
And like today, I had an optometrist appointment. I thought, are they going to want my physical card? And then you know what I did? I went, if they want my physical Medibank or Medicare card, I'm just not going to. I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm taking my business elsewhere.
What about the health fund card?
I've got that in my Apple Wallet. Yeah.
Okay. What health fund you with?
Medibank.
Okay, yeah, I'm with HCF.
And mate,
Yeah.
I'd show you, but my phone's dead. It's remarkable. My phone is dead, and I'm not
Phone's
freaking
dead.
out about it. Yeah,
What the hell?
zero battery.
Wow.
And so
So you're old school now. No
yeah,
phone.
I'm
No phone.
I cannot make a payment right now.
Whoa. Okay. I have to shout with the cash. See, Optus outage. Hello, I'm
It's
good.
Late at night, I don't need to make a
The
payment.
Optus
till tomorrow.
outage, I cruise through. I'm not even an Optus customer.
No.
anyway,
But, mate, carrying cash is wild. And, yeah, it's funny how – so there was a Westpac outage this week. And so many
you're not a Westpac customer, are you?
So many of the comments were, oh, my God, and they want us to be cashless society. I'm like, mate, take a chill, will you?
Yeah, I know. We're heading that way. But you know what? Cash is still cash, mate. I love that. Knowing – you know why? I know how much is in my wallet. Like, you counted my money. I knew exactly how much I had in there. And I know that, like, I can keep track of that sort of stuff. And you know what's in there. You know that's what you got.
Mate, I know how much is in my bank.
You do? Right
all
now,
the time.
like when you're tapping away, I got to look in my account. Okay, so I'm good there. I need to put more money in that account or, whatever, transfer some cash.
I know that if it's in the first 2 weeks of the month, I'm not going to have any problem tapping any of the regular things that I tap. I know that I made a payment today that was rather large because I had to get new lenses for my glasses. So I'm probably going to have to, second to third week of the month, I'm going to have to check a little bit more regularly just in case some payment comes out. But no, I'm across how much is in every account.
Because I just think
mate, I log onto the bank first thing every morning.
And okay.
I want to know how much in all the business accounts, everything.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I do. I'm every day or every second day maybe. But it's funny when you pay cash. And then you get that surprise look from people.
They're like, what is this?
I love it. Oh, you know what? I love the reaction. I love it because normally when you order a coffee or something and they normally put the terminal out for you and then I give them the cash and they go, oh, so they've got to actually...
This bloody dinosaur.
They've got to change. They've got to open the till and give me the change. They've got to work out the change too, which is really fascinating because tapping, don't work out anything. But if you give them $20 and it costs $11.50, they got to work it out. I know the register does it for them, but them getting the money together and it's that manual labour that they don't like.
Ladies and gentlemen, what we've demonstrated to you today here is that I'm old, but Jesus, he's old. And let me be clear.
Old school. Yeah.
Let me be clear.
Yeah.
This topic was his idea.
My idea. Yeah.
How old are you?
Hasn't it been entertaining?
We should have written that down. How old is Stephen?
Yeah. Hasn't that been entertaining though? And I'm sure, and look, hit us up on Threads, Twitter, wherever you're talking to us.
In the comments below if you're watching on Facebook
comments,
or YouTube.
What are you doing old school?
What are you least likely to let go of?
Yes.
What's the last old school thing? Because, mate, I will cling to the 6 o'clock news until...
But that's not going to go away, though.
No, but I'm just saying that's like, I think that's critical. I want to
hear something that's old school, that's hard to get, that's hard to find. Like are you still watching VHS videos? Have you still got a VHS player and you're still happy plugging away with VHS? That's old school.
If so, do you have any streaming subscriptions? That is wild.
Yeah. There's people with, even, like, I reckon DVD
what do you think they're
still
watching?
Really
home
popular.
movies?
Home movies, yeah. A bit of chicken and corn. Maybe.
Wow, took that too far?
Yeah, a bit of chicken and corn. I knew there's a few when I was a young bloke. That's how I watched them on VHS. That was how it happened. So, that's how it went down, so to speak. But
that's how. Remember, like in the modern age,
how easy is it now
Kim
for
Kardashian,
kids to,
right?
Yeah.
What's that?
The sex tape.
Leak tape. Yep.
Yeah.
Back in my day, a VHS would be distributed
of that
kind of content.
I tell you, the sex scandal that was distributed on tape back in my day.
Hang on, stop. Is it a sister?
Yes.
Yes. Same. Yep.
Mimi. Hey, mate, it happened. It was
the most awkward thing watching that in a boardroom with other people. Anyway,
really, wow.
Yeah, it was
really.
distributed.
What boardroom did you watch this in?
It was in a media organisation I was working for at the time.
Same with me. Yeah,
in fact, I'll tell Stephen off the air, but no, actually, I'll write it down here.
Bill, he's writing something down.
No, we went to the offices of a construction office of a former footballer. And we went to his office and shared it with his team as well. It was just so inappropriate what we were doing at the time.
And it was, you know what?
Because now you just send a link and it's like, mate, bring the tape over.
Yeah. It was this was pre-internet or just on the edge of internet.
There was internet, but it wasn't.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
Known for this,
there was nothing going viral.
No, you were dialing up to download, and it took an hour.
Yeah, I think this was viral. Pre-internet viral.
Yeah.
Don't you reckon? The copying of the tape and like making copies and
Yeah.
It went crazy.
Anyway, I don't know how we went there.
Crazy.
I regret going there. Okay.
Cray.
I really do. Two Blokes Talking Tech.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
And we do it all thanks to the great people at Netgear. The Orbi is perfection when you think about your holiday season. So unwrap Wi-Fi perfection this holiday season. When it comes to elite Wi-Fi performance across your whole home, Orbi is in a class of its own. Unlock uncompromising speed, coverage and reliability from the front door to your backyard. And finding the perfect Orbi is easy. Just go to netgear.com.au and with a few simple questions, they'll help you discover the right speed, coverage and Wi-Fi technology for your need. And of course, there's more than just the Orbi available there too. The brand new RS700S, the Wi-Fi 7 router from Nighthawk, the Netgear Nighthawk RS700S is a very stunning looking device, a tall unit, very different in terms of the average router. You can unleash speeds of 19 gigabits per second throughout your home. So amazing if you're doing things like gaming, LAN sharing, media streaming and all those kind of things. And of course, as the travel season kicks in, the M6 Pro is a great product for all your holiday travel, so you can take 4G, 5G internet with you on the go, and many devices can connect together, so you can take Wi-Fi to your holiday with you. All the details at netgear.com.au.
Everything about tech you never wanted to know. This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
I have a fascination for a particular brand,
Yeah.
Withings.
The new watch.
Do you say Withings?
Have you got this already?
No.
Did they send it?
Do you say Withings?
Withings. What's it supposed to be?
I don't know. Some people say
Withings.
Withings, yeah.
It's Withings.
It's definitely Withings.
Withings.
I do have, they announced a couple of products this week. I do have the other ones.
Yes.
But I wore it. It's just
I've
too
got the
small for me.
ScanWatch too. Is that what you got? ScanWatch?
No, it's too small for
Bit
me.
dainty for you?
It's a bit dainty
Looks like
for
the
me.
Pixel 2, eh?
Yeah, which is the Pixel 2 is not a good
So
watch.
the Nova, I think
the
I was off.
ScanWatch
Have you been
Nova,
off of this?
Yeah,
me too. Yeah.
It doesn't come out until the end of January.
Yes.
But
Are you going to get early look at it?
it's the same concept as the ScanWatch Horizon, which was
It looks like a real watch.
It looks like a real watch.
And you're a fan.
Massive fan because it looks like a classic watch. Like this is a diver style, which is a reputable kind of genre of analog watch.
Yep.
It is an analog watch. It has a minute and an hour's hand.
Yeah.
It has a counter at the bottom.
That's old school.
Then it has this little tiny screen through which you can see your steps. You can do an ECG. You can get your oxygen level, blood oxygen level, all that kind of stuff. Sleep tracking.
All there.
I made for it's
$799.
$800.
Yeah.
It is a beautiful watch.
What colour would you get? Blue, black, or green?
I'm torn. I do love the blue. I have this thing about blue watches, I think, and I've got the blue Horizon.
Oyster metal wristband as well.
Yeah.
What's FKM wristband? What's that?
I don't know.
It's not.
I think it might be the.
Is that short for?
No. Don't. Just whatever you're going to say. Don't.
Or it's not the private feed.
No, that's right. I think I'd go blue. Anyway, it's a beautiful, beautiful watch. I think it's a brilliant thing to have something like that because there's people out there that don't want to wear an Apple Watch or a Samsung because they don't want a screen on them. Yeah. They want to just glance at a watch and see the time. I know we've got always on displays and all that stuff, but it's not the same as just glancing.
There's a lot of people, and you might fall into this category, who are just not fans of always wearing a square watch.
Yeah.
I think if you're a watch perv, right? You're a watch fanatic, right? Like you know how like you.
I prefer that word.
You're more a watch guy than me, right? I've got a few watches, but I don't sort of change them every single day like other people would. Then the tendency is for them to like the more classic style.
100%.
Which is sort of why I think Samsung is doing pretty well. Their Watch 6s, and they're looking nice, and the classic is really nice.
Which is also why I think the Google Pixel only appeals to the nerdiest of Google users.
It's like it got this edgeless sort of high-tech look.
Imagine Google did something like this.
Yeah. Oh, mate. Gangbusters.
So you think about it, the Withings is a round dial like a traditional watch, but then it has a round circle in the top. Imagine Google went, let's use the top hemisphere of the watch face. So we've actually got a little bit of space there for things like larger notifications. You can get notifications and stuff on this.
I think the Pixel Watch 3 is going to be a bit different.
It has to be, because it's not been a good thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a great looking watch. If you want to see photos of it, EFTM.com. It's a beautiful watch. Yep. It'll come out in late January. The other two new ones come out in early Jan.
Do you want to see it? No, don't.
Yeah. I assume we'll get a look at it. If
Trevor hates me having stuff before him.
If we don't have it early, we'll see it at CES and I'll have a look at it then. So bring all that to you as the weeks and months evolve.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech with Trevor Long and Stephen Fennick.
Now, I think a car we've written about earlier this year that is an EV, an upcoming EV, is the Ford Mustang.
The Mark E.
E, and you reckon they've had a price cut.
Mate, this is
right?
wild. They announced this today.
Yeah.
The car begins deliveries this month, so there'll be
Right.
some people that get them this month.
Yeah.
I'm going to have one next week. So,
All right.
and you'll
Which
have
means
one
I'll
early
have
in the
one
year.
next week too.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to work out the timing on that
All
because
good.
it's just
All
not as
good.
easy as MSR. But anyway, we'll move on. There's 3 different models, so we'll definitely get through this range next year on the EV podcast. And just a secret tip, you can begin to subscribe to that now because the feed is available on
is there.
Spotify, Amazon Music and Apple Podcasts. So subscribe to the EV podcast feed, folks, so you'll get that one when it happens. But so this is fascinating because obviously we have fluctuations often in price. Tesla's done that many
Tesla have
times.
slashed their prices at times.
But there's 3 models of this. The most expensive is $107,665. It's been reduced by $2,600 to $104,000, right? That's the GT. That's got performance and all that kind of stuff. The middle one, the middle spec is called Premium. It used to be $91,665. They've reduced that by $4,500 to $86,990, which brings it under the luxury car tax.
That's all. That's handy.
That's important, right? Because it
That's
means
handy.
your on-road costs.
So how much was
are
it
reduced.
on the road?
On the road, I don't know, but manufacturer list price is 86, so let's
Okay.
call it 90.
Right.
The Select, which is your entry model,
Yep.
it has gone from $79,900 to $72,900, a $7,000 price cut,
That's massive.
which begs the question.
So I think they're doing that. Your theory is that they're doing that to compete with the Model 3?
I think they're doing that because they didn't get enough orders.
Really?
This is one of those, Ford went out early with a expression
Yeah.
of interest, like they revealed the car at the Grand Prix
Yes,
with Daniel Ricciardo
that's right.
when I was there in
Yeah.
Melbourne.
Yep.
And then they 6 months later revealed the pricing, and then the orders opened. Like it was this
It
strategic
was like
thing.
Staggered.
I just have
releases,
this sense
You reckon they're going
that they've gone, why didn't we get as many orders as we thought? And mate, when you look at the Model Y, which is the best-selling EV on the market today,
Yep.
and it's a small SUV like the Mark E,
Yep.
and they're selling thousands of them a month. This is still more expensive than a Model Y base model.
Yep.
It kind of, if you're buying the expensive Model Y, you could definitely buy the Mark
So do
E.
you reckon this looks more like a Model Y than a Model 3? So this is a hatchback.
Definitely, this is an
Yeah.
SUV. This
Right, okay.
competes with the Model Y every day of the week.
Which is smashing it.
Smashing
and the Model 3 as well is still very popular.
And this is why, mate, honestly, we could rewind 12 years on this podcast, and I can remember vividly, weird memory.
Talking about
you and me
iPads,
sitting
tablets.
in my downstairs garage,
Yep.
side by side, we were sitting there, recording this, talking about bloody tablets and how different companies were trying to
Yeah.
take on tablets, and when they needed to price
They're pricing
themselves
same as
lower than
iPad.
Apple.
Yeah.
Mate, Ford would sell these things like hotcakes
Yeah.
if they were cheaper than Teslas. But
Yeah.
see, these companies, they
Yeah.
want to say, no, we're an established, we're a premium brand. We don't want to be seen as cheaper. That's
the
so
challenge.
dumb.
But that's why those other companies that we spoke about back of those years ago did that. They did want to be seen. They wanted to be seen as equal to Apple, not as inferior to
Yes,
Apple.
but Samsung's never outsold Apple on
Yeah,
tablets.
yeah,
They might
okay.
sell okay.
But I think, in this instance, the reality of it is, Ford placing themselves as they've been a car brand, been around for 100 years, right?
Yeah.
Is it about how long they've been around?
Yeah, I
Ford?
reckon, yeah.
So they've been around a while. So for them,
We
for them
are
to
about
think-
to hit,
Yeah.
in 2023, we're going to have a record number of new car sales.
Yeah.
This is going to be the
You mean
most
new car overall?
new cars
You're right.
ever sold in
EV,
Australia, right?
petrol,
everything.
all included.
The most new cars ever sold.
Really? Why?
Yeah.
I think it's just
Post-pandemic, supply,
orders have arrived. Yeah,
orders
right.
are all that kind of stuff
Yeah, I
is
understand,
definitely playing
yeah.
in. But people are buying cars. Like
Yeah, okay.
isn't it weird? We both bought a car this year, and it's the biggest year. I mean, we're responsible basically. No, I genuinely think that your MGs, your BYDs are the only challenger that Tesla has because these other brands are stifling supply and stifling demand by putting the prices up.
Yeah, I think in this instance, it's the lowering tide, lowering all boats. If you're gonna, if you want to sort of,
that's a good point.
You want to see that you want to stay competitive. And put it this way, Tesla's well established as the EV brand. We mentioned
No
Model
doubt.
3, Model Y.
Yeah.
So them operating at that level, BYD very cleverly came in and tried to offer a cheaper alternative while offering
They
the
are
same quality.
selling
right?
so well.
And even to the point where they were their websites looked the same. So if for Ford to overprice themselves like that, which is that's an obvious admission that they've cut prices by up to $7,000? Did you say
$7,000?
That's massive. So
I'll give you my theory.
Maybe they've sort of over estimated their hand.
I have a little theory, and there's a new car which I can't wait for us to drive early in the new year called the Kia EV9.
Yeah,
big car.
Yep,
like SUV, 7-seat.
Wow,
this will be the first large electric car, like genuinely, because Mercedes has an SUV, but it's really a 5-seater. This is a 7-seat EQ,
like my EQ.
Yeah,
EQ,
the original EQC was a big car, right?
Yeah.
And there's an EQS SUV as well.
Yes,
EQE SUV.
Yes,
EQE
is the most
SUV.
recent one. Yeah,
but I'm talking 7-seat big family car, right? The EV9.
Massive
it's a big
battery.
Boxy thing.
Yeah.
It looks amazing.
Huge range.
Spoiler alert! It's going to get an award from EFTM. It's a great car.
Not even out yet.
It's been previewed by Motoring Journos, who I've enlisted to support the work that I'm doing this year. Anyway, moving on. That's exciting, but I reckon because that's a $100,000 car, right?
Yeah,
it's Kia. Like, mate, when I bought the Kia Carnival for $60,000 or whatever it was, 2020, that was the most expensive Kia you could buy, right? And that was to me, that was the top end of the market for. I've never spent more than $60,000 on a car,
right?
So that's too much money for a car in my book, and I don't think they'll sell in big numbers. But I think it's critical for these companies to have cars in this space so they can say to prospective buyers. But the fact is, they probably make more margin on simple, affordable petrol cars.
Yep.
And so as long as they're still churning those out the showrooms, doesn't matter if there's a waiting list for these cars. Whereas Tesla doesn't have that. Tesla just needs to pump these cars out.
Yep.
So there's two kind of competing styles of car sales and car manufacturing going on. I think we've got two different markets going on at the same time.
Yeah, well, I think the market will level itself out. Well, demand, if there's demand people are willing to pay for it. If the sales are slow, then they got it wrong. It looks like it seems that way.
Oh, man, I can't wait to see the Marquee. And if you're in the market for one, I'd love to know. Because I genuinely think... So, again, I thought about the Marquee when it was first announced. I went, that could be my car.
Right.
But it was I'm not going to 70. If that had a 6 in front of it...
Right. You'd be driving that now. Or you'd be waiting for it.
I would have waited to drive it before I ordered the Cupra.
Okay.
Because it's bigger. Like, it's a bigger car than what I've got.
Yep.
Now, that's perspective, right? This is a much bigger car than mine, and it's only $10,000 more. So, like you say to yourself, this is actually good value. Like, it's a ridiculous thing, but you need to put my car out of the equation because I bought that on emotion more than anything else. Like, I did. Like, I wanted my Seat Ibiza again. This is my first car all over. This is a midlife crisis car, right? But on value, like the Marquee's very good value.
Absolutely.
So maybe I'm talking out the arse there. It actually isn't bad. But I'd just be curious to see how many people are considering it seriously in a world where you can buy a Tesla for the same money or less.
Well,
that's the challenge, right?
That's become the benchmark, isn't it? Like Tesla got here first. That's the benchmark now. What the people compare it to that, just like BYD did. Yeah. BYD with the Seal, they thought, well, this is sort of Model 3 territory. Yeah. Let's make it $10,000, $12,000 cheaper.
And that's
what they've done. Yeah. Whereas Ford came in and thought, let's make it more expensive, and they've realised the error of their ways.
Well, we'll see how it goes for them. Two Blokes Talking Electric Cars is a new podcast available soon on Apple Podcasts.
That was a little preview for you.
Amazon Music and Spotify. Subscribe now so you're ready when the first episode drops.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.
Thank you, mates. And thank you to Arlo and Netgear for helping us get all the way to episode 612. Hey,
that was awesome. Yes.
And we'll be back next week with another episode of Two Blokes Talking Tech. We're going to take a week off after Christmas, but you don't want us then. We don't want us around
the
after
week
Christmas.
Between Christmas and New Year. The two blokes are going to have a break, a little break, short break.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week, Stephen.
Thank you.
This is Two Blokes Talking Tech.